Hello everyone and welcome back to Danganronpa V3 where we've figured out that Kyo killed Tenko. We're pretty sure he killed Angie, we just have not figured out the why.
Or Monodam did it.
Or Monodam did it. To mess with the whole thing. That's why he couldn't come up with a rule for it.
Yep. Anyways.
Yippee! I've been waiting for this!
Oh, good God.
Why were you waiting for it?
Because it's drama.
Kyo confessed to killing Tenko, but insists he didn't kill Angie. We won't forgive Kyo for what he did, but we can't vote until we know the facts. I have to pin down the evidence and convince everyone. Yeah, like there are so many things that we have not looked at. Do the dead people get to take sides?
Kyo killed Tenko and Angie!
I got this! Not yet. There's still another mystery to solve.
He forced his way into Angie's research lab and killed her!
The katana was found in Kyo's lab.
I hate that I can't take a look at what any of these
Kyo!
are.
Anyone could have entered my lab.
So Kyo did kill Tenko, but he not blackened?
Kyo!
Not possible.
Nope.
That rule
Right.
was added after both murders.
He was planning to use the new rule to protect himself all along.
Kyo!
Oh, there we go.
Not possible. That rule was added after both murders.
We solved the mystery of Tenko's death. Can't we just vote now?
Kokichi!
Mystery?
Perhaps there's a second blackened we need to find.
No?
Kyo
Alright.
killed Tenko and Angie!
Okay. We vote now, we'll never know. We have to defend that
Kyo
point.
killed Tenko and Angie!
I got this! But he couldn't get into Angie's research lab.
He forced his way into Angie's research lab
Oh,
and
there it
killed
goes.
her!
How,
got
like,
this,
how am I supposed
but
to
he
know that,
couldn't
what
get
that's
into
what that
Angie's
is?
research
I don't know.
lab.
The katana
All right,
was
lab.
found in Kyo's lab.
Kyo!
Anyone could have entered my lab.
So Kyo did kill Tenko, but he not blackened?
Mystery?
I got this! Not yet. There's still another mystery to solve.
He was planning to use the new rule to protect himself all along.
Rule.
Kyo!
Not possible. That rule was added after both murders.
We solved the mystery of Tenko's death.
Oh,
I
mystery.
got this! Not yet. There's still another mystery to solve.
Alright.
Kyo killed Tenko... Kyo killed Tenko and Angie!
Kyo.
Kibo, we don't know for certain that Kyo killed Angie.
Alright, then
Forced
Angie.
his way
I got this! But he couldn't get into Angie's research lab.
The katana was
Lab.
found in
Kyo!
Anyone
blackened.
could have entered my lab.
So Kyo did kill Tenko, but
Kokichi!
perhaps there's a second blackened we need to find.
He was planning to use the new rule to
Kyo!
Not possible. That rule was added after both murders.
We solved the mystery.
I got this! Not yet. There's still
I
another
think I need to
mystery
press
to
buttons
solve.
after this.
Yep. B. X.
This is our answer.
We got it!
It would be a mistake to vote before we've completely solved Angie's murder. And there's still the mystery of Tenko's murder.
Mystery? What kind of mystery?
Well, Kyo's confession derailed our conversation a bit. But we still have to go over one of the clues found at Tenko's crime scene.
The dry blood, I think you're
I
right.
believe it might even have something to do with Angie's murder.
Yeah, the outlying piece of evidence at Tenko's murder scene. Hey, where was that found?
That was in Angie's lab.
Okay, so yeah, it's gotta be... Oh my god, where is it?
Right there. Loose floorboard.
No. Dried blood. There it is.
This is it! The bloodstain found under the floor. Maki and I found it during the investigation. It was beneath the floorboard that the culprit stomped on.
Is that Tenko's blood?
That bloodstain was too far from Tenko's corpse to have been hers.
Also, the bloodstain was already dry when we found it. But the blood from Tenko's body hadn't even begun to dry yet.
Well, that's weird. Why was that bloodstain the only dry one?
The bloodstain under the floorboard was dry because the air was dry. It happened before the seance. No, wait, it was there before Tenko was killed. Wait, what? Huh?
It's the first one.
What?
It happened before the seance.
I feel like those are both the same thing, though.
It's not.
That's it! The bloodstain wasn't from Tenko's murder.
Maybe I read it wrong.
It was there before we started the seance.
Right, which would also be before Tenko was murdered.
But I think it's more talking about the fact that it was... The murder and the seance were happening, and it happened somehow during the seance. That's what I think they were trying
Is what
to...
they're trying to imply. Gotcha.
Had to have been from Angie.
Yeah.
That's it! That bloodstain wasn't Tenko's. It was Angie's.
Was Q and Angie working
Why
together?
was blood from Angie at the scene of Tenko's murder?
Yeah, wasn't Angie killed in her research lab?
No, that's just where we found her.
Just because we found her body there doesn't mean she was killed there.
Ah, I guess that's possible.
Angie was
No, they wouldn't work together. Because Angie was like pretty dead set on no one.
We assumed that only council
Then why was
members
she under the
killed Angie
floorboards?
since her body was in her lab. But if she died somewhere else, then we can't suspect just the council members anymore.
So the culprit didn't enter her lab, but waited for her to come out of it?
I'm not sure if the culprit waited for her, but they probably killed her when she came out.
Yep.
Well, I thought that was more likely from the start. So I went to places Angie might have gone and checked all 3 empty rooms.
So that's what he was doing when he
Places he might have gone? Why did you check the empty rooms then?
The empty rooms were the only places I could think of that Angie would go.
Did Angie have business in rooms?
It seems Kokichi's up to his usual misleading nonsense again.
I do lie a lot, and I could be lying right now too. But I'm pretty sure someone's panicking right now because of my lie.
Angie left her lab on her own and headed to the room where she was killed. Is Kokichi's statement true or yes? Okay.
What we got?
The art research lab is not where Angie was killed. She was killed in the empty room instead.
Okay.
Yeah,
She left her lab on her own?
I agree with that, actually.
But why would she go into an empty room? There shouldn't
The
have been anything
Necronomicon.
in there. Except for candles.
That's it! She wanted a candle!
Yep. I'm pretty sure.
Because you read the... Because you need to burn them.
Yes. Yeah. It seems like she would have other things to burn it with, though, but I'm pretty sure that's it.
At night. She would
No.
drip hot wax on her body.
Typical Mew.
That sounds like something only you would do, Mew.
I want to agree with that.
So it's the candle. And it's
Yeah.
the Necronomicon.
What did Kokichi see? Something Angie did. There has to be a clue there.
The art research lab is not where Angie was killed. She was killed in the empty room instead.
She left her lab on her own?
But why would she go into an empty room? There shouldn't have been anything in there. Except for candles.
That's it!
I agree.
I guess in her room she would probably wouldn't have other things to burn.
It.
Yeah, maybe not.
Angie went to that room to get a candle.
Yeah, for kinky wax play.
All right,
No.
adults are talking now.
Angie was going to use it for the ritual. According to the Necronomicon, to resurrect the dead.
Burn. Yep.
Then, did she seek out a candle so she could burn the book?
That's right. There's nothing to start a fire with in Angie's lab.
Yep. All right, I guess not.
So she went to go get a candle from one of the empty rooms.
And
Did she
that's
fall?
when the culprit attacked her.
No, she fell through the floorboard.
No, because the floorboard hadn't been moved.
That's why there was dried blood under floor.
Which means Angie was attacked in the same room the seance was held. Bravo, Himiko. Well done for choosing that room for the seance.
Yeah, that was lucky. All right, I think I've got it now.
If we hadn't done the seance in that room, then Tenko's murder would have been in another room.
And we never would have found the dried blood.
If that happened, no one would have discovered Angie's blood stain under the floorboards.
That's right. Shuichi and I only checked under the floorboards where Tenko died.
I guess it doesn't follow. Because I was like, remember in Danganronpa 2 where Hiyoko only got killed because she happened to like walk in at the wrong time? I'm wondering if that's the case here.
Yep, it's all thanks to Himiko for choosing the same room as Angie.
But I was trying to remember, that didn't really work out in the first game.
No.
This must be a Tua's will. Or maybe the power of magic.
It's neither. I just picked one.
Hold on. You're all acting as though you've proven that as fact already. You claim Angie was murdered in the empty room, and then moved to the lab?
It would make sense.
Then how do you explain the large amount of blood in the lab? It may be possible to carry a body, but blood cannot be moved.
I think he knocked her out and then killed her in the room. Because remember, she had 2
I think
wounds.
she was
Yeah.
still alive after the attack in the empty room. She was killed after she was carried to her lab.
So yeah, that would explain the blood in there. That means the culprit attacked her twice. I have evidence of that. Is it in the...
It's the Monokuma file.
Or is it the forehead? It was not bleeding as much as it
that's
should.
That's it.
This is it!
Oh, all right. I'm like, oh, maybe it was the Monokuma
The
file.
fatal wound was a cut to the back of her neck from the katana. But she also showed signs of blunt force trauma, and I think I know why.
Yeah, I feel like that one, it could have been either. You could argue either one.
After Angie was knocked unconscious in the empty room, she was killed in her lab.
I see. So that puddle of blood is from the killing blow.
Makes sense.
Ha! It's all clear now. Angie was attacked in the empty room, carried to her lab, and it was there that the culprit finished her off.
Ooh, there we
All
go.
clear. This is all clear. What are you all talking about? All clear? What is all clear? What are
Ooh,
you?
he's losing it.
Ooh.
All clear? What are you all? You what? What are? I will not fear. I will not back down.
Huh? What is happening?
Sweet Korekio, calm yourself. Their words are all hollow. There is no meaning to any of them.
Is he a split personality disorder? Is he 2 people?
What?
You must teach these ignorant children a lesson.
Yes, you're
Oh,
right.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'll teach them.
I was like, is he just talking in third person to be weird?
What the
No.
hell are you mumbling about? You're giving me the goddamn willies!
He's got split personality.
Not yet. Nothing is clear at all.
It's full of doubts, of mysteries, of a dense, impenetrable fog! Nothing is clear at all!
No, we kind of got this. Rebuttal Showdown, Truth Blade. Is he gonna start arguing?
Angie
Duct
was
tape.
attacked in the empty room first. And then carried into the research lab? Impossible! Impossible! That's nothing but a delusion! You intend to poison our minds with your delusions?
It's no delusion.
That's how the blood didn't get
Angie's
everywhere.
2 external wounds tell the story. After she was
But how did he
struck
have
in
the
the
duct
empty
tape?
room, she was carried to the art research lab.
Like, he could have got it
and
from the
killed.
warehouse.
You say the
Oh.
culprit carried Angie's body? And not a single drop of blood fell? The hallway and empty room had no bloodstains.
There you go. Duct
No,
tape.
that's
Even if
true.
you wipe them down later, there'd still be traces of evidence left behind. But there was no evidence anywhere, was there, Shuichi?
I'll cut through your words.
There we go.
So did one of his personalities do one killing and the other
There
one did
was
the other?
evidence left at the scene. The bloody tape
wonder.
under Angie's body.
What?
It was wrapped around her head to stop the bleeding while she was being carried.
Bloody tape? Gonta didn't notice at all.
It was under the body. It's most likely evidence the culprit should have gotten rid of.
Yeah, that's kind of.
But since it was hidden, the culprit didn't notice and failed to dispose of it.
Wait, but he would
It must have fallen as the
done it.
fatal blow was dealt and ended up under her body.
Okay.
It must have been Atua who did that for us.
Eh?
What? Atua? How long are you going to keep that up?
Now we know most of the mystery behind Angie's murder.
I'm convinced there's only one person who could have killed Angie.
Kyo's split personality disorder.
Oh, we're doing this again.
Yep.
Geez, I wonder if it's the person who's sweating profusely.
It has to be you.
I still cannot figure out why.
It's
I don't
you,
either.
Kyo. You killed Angie.
What the fuck? So it's true.
Well, that was obvious. Such a boring, obvious.
There's something
answer.
up with him. Her, him, whatever it is.
Killed both of them. Why? Why did you kill them?
In terms of pure logic, only one victim was necessary to win.
Why? Why you killed them both?
I think one of the murders was an accident.
There we go.
An accident?
That's right. It wasn't part of the plan.
Huh? Which one?
Angie.
Yeah. The murder that was an accident. Yeah.
That's it.
You're the only one.
Angie's murder was an accident.
She was getting a candle while he was setting up
Yep.
and was like,
What?
what's all this about?
That wasn't accident?
That's right. Kyo originally planned to kill someone with a seesaw trick.
So then why did he even bother with
Yeah.
the second?
But while he was making preparations in the empty room, Angie walked in. So he decided to kill her in order to keep her from talking.
At that point he didn't, unless he did this.
Happened to walk in on the
No.
culprit setting up and was killed.
Then he should have just stopped there. Once he killed Angie, there was no reason for him to kill Tinko.
He only needed to kill one for this game. Killing 2 is pointless.
It just leaves more
If
evidence.
you get bonus points for killing more, then sure. Otherwise, it leaves more clues behind.
Why, Kyo? Why you kill 2 of our friends?
The nut.
What on earth are you talking about? No, I'm not the culprit. So, why is everyone looking at me like I am?
It's the other personality.
Why are they? Why is it? Calm yourself, Korekio. Yes. You mustn't raise your voice. You mustn't stutter. You mustn't lose composure. You mustn't become flustered. You mustn't waver. Look at their horrid faces. This sorry lot is not worth agonizing over. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
There he goes again. What the hell's wrong with him?
It almost seems like he's talking with someone. Someone? He's just talking to himself. And why the hell is he wearing lipstick?
No matter how loudly you protest, this is a trivial matter. I will never acknowledge your allegations. Not a single one of them.
I mean, wouldn't it be, we could just vote,
But
be
you
done with
see,
it.
there is no evidence that I killed Angie. No, I will not acknowledge it. I will only acknowledge facts, true events. I won't acknowledge fiction, mystery. I won't acknowledge your deductions or guesses.
Well said. Good job, Korekio.
Yes, thanks.
Creeps me the fuck out!
Kind of with you.
Yeah. No evidence. There's just no evidence that he killed Angie?
You're wrong. There is evidence.
What? You do realize bluffs like that won't work, yes?
Yeah,
The
what
weapon
piece
that
of-
was used to knock Angie unconscious in the empty room. That
a
weapon
floorboard.
tells us the whole story, Kyo.
He used the floorboard.
Yep.
That's not possible. I think you may have misunderstood. Apologize. Come on, apologize.
Apologize.
Oh God.
Apologize.
It's me, Khan.
Apologize.
Come on. Apologize. 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 Apologize.
I think we broke him, her.
Stupid, 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 stupid. Stupid.
Did.
Seriously, what the hell's happening?
I like how he like randomly salutes when he talks.
And looks creeped out.
I have no idea what's happening with Kyo. But I know what weapon he used on Angie. I have to prove it to him. Oh.
I have nothing to admit. You are simply wrong.
Eh?
I'm not the culprit.
So I have nothing to confess. I have nothing to admit. You are simply wrong.
Yes.
Eh?
I'm not the culprit.
So I have nothing to confess. I have nothing to admit. You are simply wrong.
Yes. I'm not the culprit.
So I have nothing to confess. Why must you force your delusions on us?
Your logic.
That's merely a delusion. Well said, Korekio.
Oops.
To continue this debate is meaningless. Why must you force your delusions on us?
Your logic.
That's merely a delusion. Well said, Korekio. To continue this debate is meaningless. Why must you force your delusions on us?
I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me.
Korekio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot.
Apologize. Apologize. Apologize.
Apologize.
Oh my God.
I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me.
Korekio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot.
Apologize. Apologize. Apologize.
What are those?
Apologize. I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me.
Oh, you have to
Korekio
guess what it
speaks
is.
the truth. Such a sorry lot.
Apologize. Apologize. Apologize.
Apologize.
Apologize. Apologize. I told
God,
you
that's
I
hard.
am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me.
Korekio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot.
Apologize. Apologize.
You have no proof that Korekio is the killer.
Moved floorboard?
Yep.
Oh, removed floorboard.
Floorboard.
It ends here!
Looked like a lady.
Kyo hit Angie with the same floorboard used in the seesaw trick.
I see. And how do you know the floorboard was the murder weapon?
Ooh, we know what that is.
There was a small patch of dry
Yeah.
blood on the underside of the floorboard.
Angie's blood?
Yep.
Blood that spattered there when the culprit struck Angie with the board. But that's not the only evidence that she was hit with that floorboard.
I feel like if they had basic DNA kits, these trials would be a lot shorter. Could have tested that blood.
There's also the blood stain under the floor to consider. For that to be there,
floorboard would have to have been removed.
Must not have been in place at the time of the attack.
Good point. Had the floorboard been in place, her blood wouldn't have splattered beneath it.
Agreed.
Oh, sure. I realized that the floorboard needed to not be there. And they don't ask about that. But I'm like, man, I couldn't have been suicide because the sickle's halfway across the room. Let's sit and talk about this sickle and how Tenko killed herself with it.
How? If the weapon used to hit Angie is the floorboard from the seesaw trick.
It means the culprit knew about the seesaw. So the same person killed Tenko and Angie.
Yeah, not looking good for you.
Wow. Some lungs on that dude chick.
Should get a Valium or Xanax or something. He'd probably feel a lot better.
I believe that while Kyo was setting up the seesaw, he was holding the board when Angie walked in.
And he cold-cocked her with the floorboard.
Good job, you. Way to contribute.
All you can do now is accept it. You even confessed to Tenko's murder already.
Oops.
Oh, it's true. This is the truth.
Poor Himiko.
Looks like we're almost at the end.
Yeah, you're boned, my dude.
All right, Shuichi. I'll leave the finale to you. Bring down the house.
Shuichi, please, put an end to this.
Can't we just vote?
For Angie and Tenko's sake. End this class trial.
I understand. I'll go over everything one more time. Kyo, I want you to confess. No, I will force you to confess.
Can we just pin him down until he confesses?
All right, comic book time.
Who was the culprit?
Who was the culprit with the saw in the empty room? What's our choices right now? All right, I don't think we have that yet.
No, all right.
All right, next.
What weapon knocked Angie unconscious?
We have the floorboard.
The removed floorboard.
Yep. Okay.
What was compressing the tape?
Duct tape. I think we have that, don't we?
Suck duct tape. Yep. Okay. What weapon killed? Wait, what?
It's
what weapon killed Angie?
The katana, if we have it yet.
The path made with salt did it. Removed the gold leaf katana. I don't think that goes there yet.
Can't move.
Whose effigy was stabbed with katana? I don't think we have that.
One. We don't have K8As. Okay.
I don't know what that means. All right. When Angie's body was found, who unlocked the door?
Kokichi, we don't have that.
We don't have Kokichi. What object did Tenko rest her head on?
We have that, the pebble.
Yeah. Small stone Himiko brought, I guess.
Yep.
What weapon did the culprit set up on the...
The sickle.
Yeah, do we... Which we
I
have?
thought we had that one.
Sickle placed to kill?
Yep. Okay, what's that one?
Who besides Kokichi was responsible for extinguishing the candles? That was us. We didn't happen to unlock that, did we?
Nope, not yet. Salt.
Which we do have.
Yep.
The path made with salt. Man, so we have to use all the ones that we have before we get more?
Yep.
All right. When the culprit approached the cage...
What do we have left?
No, nothing that has anything to do with this. How did the magic circle get erased?
We all trampled on it.
Yeah.
Hit the sliding lock.
Who was the culprit with the saw in the empty room? Oh, I think I know where... All right, so we don't have that. What weapon killed A? I guess it's got to be that. Whose effigy was stabbed? The handle of the spinning katana. This, I think, is where it's hit the sliding lock.
Mm-hmm. What's the last one we have that's not unlocked right now? What is it?
Remove the gold. I guess that has to go there.
Yeah, try it. Yep.
All right.
All right, the other ones are unlocked.
I thought that, like, before, and I could be thinking of this wrong, that, like, as you did like 1 or 2, it would unlock more.
Yeah, it did. This time it didn't.
Yeah, I'm not as big a fan of this. Cut the cross piece, stomped hard on the floorboard. Kokichi's lockpicking.
So I think the first one's the floorboard thing, not the stomping.
Who was the culprit with the saw?
Go back. Cut the cross piece across the floor. Isn't that it? That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing right now.
Yeah, but that says who.
Do it.
All right. I don't know how that's a person, but whatever.
What do we got?
Who's FSG? So that would be Kaede's.
Yep. Okay. And who unlocked the door? Kokichi did.
Oh my god, this is so annoying to navigate.
Okay. Good. All right, what's that one? Cut.
Oh, us. Shuichi extinguishes the flame. That's actually a really cool panel.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. What's this one? When the culprit approaches the cage, what's our options?
Foot to steps contaminate.
Nope, it's the other one.
Stomp hard on the floorboard.
And then the other one is that one.
I got it!
This is the truth of the case! Let's look back at the first murder. It was late last night. The culprit was in the empty room on the 4th floor. The culprit was preparing the seance murder they had planned. To use the floorboard as a seesaw, they had to cut the crosspiece supporting it. The plan was to make the same preparations for all 3 empty rooms. This would divert suspicion away from the culprit and whoever picked a room. To cut the crosspieces, they needed a saw. I imagine they got one from the warehouse. They were planning to cut the crosspieces in all 3 rooms.
La 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 la.
However, when the culprit was working on the middle room, the unexpected happened.
You know what's weird though? Why would Angie go to the middle room? Nah.
What does it matter?
I mean, I guess it doesn't. It's just weird that she wouldn't go to the first available room.
That one had the more Atua feeling to it.
Their preparations.
Could be.
She needed some fire for the ritual and had gone to the room for a candle.
I still have no idea what the motive is.
At that point, the culprit had not finished the setup and was just cutting crosspieces. Angie might not have concluded that it was tied to some kind of murder plan. But now that Angie had seen it, the culprit couldn't use the seesaw trick. Any other person might have just given up, but not our culprit. The culprit took the floorboard they loosened and struck the unsuspecting Angie in the head.
So who was he planning to contact? Oh, I bet he was going to use one of the dead students.
What?
I was like, who is he going to contact? Like, and convince everyone to like come and do the seance with him. But I bet it was one of the dead students. He was going to be like, this is who we're going to communicate with.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying now.
There we go.
The culprit did not want to give up on their plan and had to improvise.
Honestly, they improvised very well.
They wrapped duct tape around Angie's injury to stop the bleeding. Then they picked up her unconscious body and carried her to a research lab. While she was unconscious, the culprit hurried to tie up this loose end. But because they were in a hurry, they made a crucial oversight. They didn't notice the duct tape had peeled off and was under Angie's body. Without that evidence, we may never have figured out the culprit's trick.
Give this guy credit though, just like coming up with that plan on the spare of the moment in her lab though.
Yeah.
Is nuts.
Carrying the supplies they needed, the culprit returned to the ultimate art lab. locked the front door from inside and took out the katana they brought from their own lab. They then stabbed Angie in the back of the neck, finally killing her. Then, to further confuse us, the culprit attempted to make a locked room mystery. First, they used rope from the warehouse and hung 4 effigies upside down. There were 2 reasons for this: to overwhelm the room with an occult atmosphere, and the other was the key to locking the room.
I'd like to know how many times he had to flip that thing to get it to lock the door.
Effigy near the rear entrance. And spun the effigy around to twist up the rope. After enough turns, the culprit let go and headed for the rear door.
Poor Kaede.
I know.
Once released, the effigy began spinning, and the gold leaf katana with it.
Click!
The handle of the katana then hit the sliding lock, locking the door. A difficult trick, but remember that the lock was so loose it moved at the slightest touch. The culprit also would have had the opportunity to attempt it many times. Once complete, the door was locked, but the duct tape was left behind. Perhaps the
golden
culprit
piece of duct
noticed
tape
it,
underneath her.
But by that point, it was too late. The room was sealed.
But it's glowing, look!
There was no way for them
Sure
to get
is.
back inside.
Golden duct tape.
Then, this morning, we opened up the room and discovered Angie's body.
Bang.
Dun dun dun.
But the culprit wasn't finished. They wanted one more murder.
Which I don't get. You already had one.
To do that, they manipulated us into performing this seance.
What if everything was already set up? He had. Well, no, but then why would he do the murder?
Yeah, why does it matter at this point?
To provide cover. That way he could be. That way he could do what he did. Like, I killed Tenko, but I didn't kill Angie.
But he didn't know about Monokuma's rule.
That's true.
I was invited by Kokichi to take Kibo's place in the seance. Tenko volunteered to be the medium, but she never imagined it would get her killed.
Kind of felt like her
perform the
words
seance,
made it
Oh,
seem
for
like
sure.
she knew
needed
it.
something for Tenko. A small stone that Himiko had brought from the courtyard. Tenko, at the culprit's request, bowed her head until it was touching the stone. That position was instrumental in making sure the murder went as planned. Next, Kokichi and I placed the iron cage over Tenko in the middle of the magic circle. The culprit then volunteered to drape the white cloth over the iron cage. We didn't realize it at the time, but that was a deliberate decision by the culprit. They needed to set up the murder weapon that was used to kill Tenko. While they were covering the cage with a cloth, they secretly placed the sickle. Finally,
Thud, thud.
4 of us placed the wooden statue on top of the cage.
Thud.
The culprit used the weight of the statue to keep the murder weapon in place. After
Sweet
the
looking Action
preparations were
5,
complete,
or Act 5.
we began the seance. In complete darkness, we each stood in one corner and sang the Cage Child song.
I'm still surprised it wasn't the design on
when
the
song
circle.
Finished, the soul of the dead
That's
was
like
supposed
how he
to
found his
enter
way
the
there.
medium.
It would have been smarter because we wouldn't have noticed as easy as lines drawn.
Yeah.
But our culprit had another plan, to commit a murder in the darkness.
Because really, he could have been safe in the knowledge that if he walked straight forward, that he was going to be...
Yeah.
Right after we started singing, the culprit began making their way toward Tenko. It would have been quite difficult to do in total darkness, but our culprit had a guide.
Salt!
They used the lines of the magic circle drawn with salt. The culprit felt for the salt and used it to guide them along. And when the culprit reached the center of the circle, they found the floorboard that had its crosspiece cut off the night before.
Ka-thunk.
Then lifted up their foot and stomped down hard on the floorboard. The floorboard lifted up like a seesaw and pushed Tenko's body up toward the ceiling of the cage. Tenko was stabbed in the back of the neck by the sickle on the top of the cage. She was killed right before our eyes, and we didn't even see it. After committing the crime, the culprit followed the salt back to their corner. Finished the ritual and had us light the candles. We followed the culprit's directions and removed the equipment used for the seance. And discovered Tenko's body. And while we were all focused on the body, the culprit picked up the sickle and dropped it under the floor through the hole in the corner of the room.
Not underneath Tenko.
Ironically, the final step of the murder was unwittingly carried out by us. The culprit had planned the murder so that we would unintentionally destroy some evidence. That evidence was the magic circle that the culprit used to navigate in the dark.
Oh my god, that's creepy.
The culprit didn't know that Kibo had taken a picture. He really saved us. Without that, we wouldn't know what changes were made to the circle. But now we know for certain, and we know the culprit drew the magic circle. Korekio Shinguchi, the ultimate anthropologist. You're the culprit behind these murders.
I didn't see it coming. Good thing we did all that to reaffirm.
That's where my detective work leads us. It all fits.
Well, that's a job done for us. Time to call it a day. But anyway, that is going to do it for us for this episode. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.